a mysterious hand begins glowing with blue energy, suggesting that the real battle has only just started. The hooded skeletal warrior watches silently, but his glowing eyes reveal that he already senses approaching danger. A young martial artist suddenly descends onto the battlefield, carrying an aura powerful enough to distort the air around him. The skeleton studies the newcomer carefully, uncertain whether he has encountered an enemy or something even more dangerous. The young warrior remains strangely calm, as though confronting an undead swordsman was already part of his plan. Behind him, the image of a gigantic demonic being begins forming, revealing the monstrous power hidden inside his body. Despite this terrifying manifestation, the young man's expression never changes, making his true strength impossible to predict. He casually places his glowing fingers against the demon's forehead, but nobody expects what happens next. The enormous creature instantly shatters into countless pieces, proving that even monsters cannot withstand his mysterious technique. The skeleton observes the destruction without moving, yet his silence may be hiding a plan of his own. Surrounded by floating debris, the martial artist turns toward him, finally revealing who his next target will be. His sharp eyes examine every detail of the skeletal armor, searching for the weakness hidden beneath those bones. The hooded warrior draws himself upright, gripping his weapon as the atmosphere between them becomes increasingly hostile. Then the skeleton appears to smile, as if this overwhelmingly powerful opponent is exactly what he was waiting for. The martial artist begins calculating his next move, but he may have already underestimated the creature standing before him. With one simple motion of his hand, he starts gathering another wave of concentrated energy. A strange red power spreads through his body, revealing that his previous attack was far from his full strength. The skeleton's blade suddenly flashes between them, forcing the warrior to react before the attack reaches his throat. Instead of panicking, the young man tracks the blade with complete focus, waiting for a single opening. The skeleton launches himself forward from above, turning his entire body into a deadly descending strike. The martial artist extends his arm in response, but the technique he is preparing remains frighteningly unclear. Power gathers around his fingers, compressing into a point small enough to hide its true destructive force. A brilliant blue sphere erupts from his hand, heading directly toward the charging skeleton. But the undead warrior tightens his fist instead of retreating, preparing to confront the attack head-on. Both fighters collide in midair, and the impact sends violent shockwaves racing across the battlefield. Their power crashes into the ground, creating an explosion that completely swallows both warriors. When the smoke clears, the martial artist is crouched inside a massive crater, but the fight is not finished. Dark tendrils suddenly spread across his arms, revealing an unnatural transformation hidden beneath his human appearance. A second explosion tears through the crater, announcing that this new form possesses even greater power. The skeleton lands inside the devastated battlefield, still standing despite the destruction around him. Both warriors face one another through the smoke, each waiting to discover who suffered the greater damage. The martial artist shields his face, but the marks covering his body suggest the transformation is becoming unstable. He forces himself upright and glares ahead, refusing to reveal how seriously the previous collision affected him. The skeleton remains motionless, making it impossible to tell whether he is injured or preparing something worse. A closer look at his glowing eyes reveals no fear, only confidence that the battle is moving as planned. Without warning, he dives toward the martial artist, bringing his weapon down with lethal precision. The young man creates a golden barrier at the final second, but its strength has yet to be tested. The skeleton's blue slash collides with the shield, forcing the protective energy dangerously close to breaking. Dark veins and monstrous tendrils spread farther across the warrior's body as his control begins slipping. He gathers several blue energy spheres at once, preparing an attack capable of ending everything. Pain and fury twist his expression, revealing that this final technique may also destroy its own user. The skeleton raises a glowing skeletal hand, attempting to stop the incoming energy before it detonates. The confrontation becomes so violent that an arm is severed, but that injury creates an unexpected opening. Before anyone can celebrate, the missing hand begins rebuilding itself, exposing the warrior's terrifying regeneration. Their combined power finally erupts into a blinding explosion that consumes the entire battlefield. The skeletal warrior is thrown through the light, and for one moment it appears that he has finally lost. But a human silhouette remains standing inside the golden radiance, suggesting the battle produced an impossible result. As the light slowly fades, the identity of the surviving figure remains hidden behind the glowing haze. The skeleton emerges from the brightness alive, although something about his surroundings has completely changed. A blonde woman suddenly appears in a peaceful field of flowers, creating a calm scene that feels suspiciously unnatural. She approaches the skeletal warrior and gently takes his hand, acting as if she has been waiting for him. The skeleton freezes in surprise, unable to understand why this stranger is treating him with such familiarity. The woman smiles warmly, but that innocent expression may be concealing knowledge about his true identity. Before their conversation can continue, another presence quietly approaches them through the flower-covered field. Two powerful men arrive behind the woman, and neither of them appears surprised to see an undead warrior. The skeleton turns toward the newcomers, wondering whether this peaceful reunion is actually another trap. The blonde woman continues speaking calmly, apparently trying to explain why everyone has gathered here. Standing beside her companions, she reveals that the skeleton's arrival may have been anticipated long ago. Her confident smile never disappears, increasing the suspicion that she knows far more than she admits. The skeletal warrior listens carefully, but he refuses to lower his guard until her true intentions become clear. A faint smile crosses the woman's face as she gives him one final mysterious answer. The skeleton eventually walks away across the flowers, leaving the group behind without revealing his decision. Yet his unsettling grin suggests that the encounter gave him exactly the information he needed. The scene suddenly shifts into a technologically advanced city, where the skeleton appears completely out of place. A nervous woman raises a gloved hand toward her lips, apparently recognizing something she was never supposed to see. Uniformed personnel enter the futuristic facility, bringing the skeletal visitor directly into their heavily guarded territory. The skeleton looks around with his usual smile, seemingly unconcerned by the soldiers surrounding him. One female officer turns sharply toward him, disturbed by either his appearance or the identity hidden beneath it. He continues through the neon-lit city, unaware that every movement is now being carefully observed. Soon, the skeleton and his companions arrive at an enormous palace, where several important figures await them. An elegant dark-haired woman welcomes the group, but the object against her chest appears strangely significant. The skeletal warrior suddenly reacts with shock, suggesting that he recognizes either the woman or what she carries. Outside, the futuristic capital continues operating normally, unaware that this meeting could soon change the entire city.